G'day, I'm Rob.
And I'm Dave.
And you're listening to the Doctor Who Show's Hot Take on episode 5 of season 1 of Doctor Who, Dot and Bubble. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Rob, and happy birthday for earlier this week.
Thank you very much. It must be yours coming up very, very soon.
Tomorrow.
Well, happy birthday to you for that.
Thank you very much.
Dave, we always start off with our words of the week. What's your word of the week for Dot and Bubble?
My word of the week for Dot and Bubble is alternate.
Alternate. Mine is hitchhiker.
Hitchhiker.
Yes,
okay.
We'll get to those at the end of the show after our sports desk. So, straight up, Dave, first impressions on this, overall impressions on this.
Right, so this was an episode where an angry 61-year-old man wrote about the social media use of 20-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm neither an angry 61-year-old man or a 20-year-old, I didn't get a lot out of this. And in fact, as the episode went on, I actually thought this is incredibly bad writing.
Yeah, I made a note. Russell seems to hate Gen Z, which is potentially the new target audience for Doctor Who.
I had that as a point for later on, but yes, absolutely. I think it was an interesting choice to try and get a bunch of Gen Z viewers by telling them that they're all absolutely incompetent fools and idiots that he has nothing but contempt for. But we can go down that path. Rob, what was your overall take, though?
My overall take, Dave, and look, going into this, as I've said in past weeks, I always read little non-spoilery reviews, little comments here and there. I knew this was going to be, quotation marks, Doctor Who does Black Mirror, and I'd seen the trailer, so I had some sort of sense of what I was going to get, and I think I did get a Doctor Who version of Black Mirror. Was it entirely successful? I think we'll tease that out as we go along.
I would never have thought of this as being an episode of Black Mirror.
Really?
No, Black Mirror is intelligent and sophisticated and clever, and this was just dumb.
Well, that's what I mean by a Doctor Who version of Black Mirror. I'm not and I'm not trying to cast aspersions on Doctor Who itself, but I'm saying, think of the social media episodes of Black Mirror. I think it's like the Bryce Dallas Howard episode where if you don't get enough likes, you can't even buy plane tickets and things, if I remember that episode correctly. It's going in that direction, but because it's got a Doctor Who style monster in it and because it has to shoehorn the Doctor into it and we get all those really clunky elements of exposition, tell me about your planet, tell me how this happened, tell me about this and that, you know. Of course it's not as smart as Black Mirror. Black Mirror is incredibly intelligent. So I'm not saying it is Black Mirror, but it is Doctor Who doing Black Mirror. So there's that. And I mean, to go back to the Gen Z stuff, I mean, this conceit that they can't walk without walking into a post, even though they can see the post, because clearly they can see the monsters. Clearly they can see things. And yet she keeps walking into the post. I guess it's trying to emphasise this dependence on the bubble. But it's just taken too far. It's just too much. It just makes them seem not just dependent, but beyond stupid.
Yes. I mean, that was my big problem with it. And right from the start, that opening scene where Lindy wakes up and turns on her bubble, and it's all like, hey, like, hello, oh, what's going on? And it's all these people, and I was looking at the actors and actresses and their profiles and sort of going, you're 20, you're not 20. And I thought maybe that's going to be the point. Maybe, like, you know, it's going to be something about all these 30-year-olds pretending they're 20 on social media, and there's going to be something a bit creepy going on. No, it's just people who don't look 20 saying that playing 20. But it was all that sort of, you know, Valley Girl, Gen Z type speak. And I just thought, oh my God, this is going to be very, very tiresome. And it wasn't a great opening for me. And yes, as we sort of went on, and it's like, I can't even put down my bubble. I can't even turn it off. I can't walk without my bubble. And then the moment when she did walk into the pole, I did just go, for God's sake. Like I said it out loud. I was just like, this is so bad. And there's definitely something to say about the dangers of social media. We're having those debates in America and Australia and the UK right now about what age should we let social media into children's lives and how dangerous it can be and the rabbit holes they can go down. And at work, my boss has chaired a committee on you know, foreign interference through social media and the way that they use algorithms and all the rest of it. So like, there are things to have in that conversation, but to latch on to this idea that because 20-year-olds use social media, they're stupid is just so I mean, it's so Russell T Davies. I said last week that he thinks that if people don't vote the same way as he does, they're stupid and they're evil and they're wrongly motivated. He has this obvious view that 20-year-olds are stupid and they can't live outside of social media, and it's just not true. I work with Gen Z people. I know Gen Z people. Some of them are idiots. Some of them are fantastic, intelligent, creative people, and Russell Davies is basically Rishi Sunak at the moment, wanting to give them all national service. Like, they both are coming from the same position of, this generation is such a waste, such a write-off. We need to, treat them with contempt. And I think that Russ would be horrified I've just made that comparison, but it really is coming from that same place of just anger and contempt. That's my rant for the week, Rob.
I think some of the Doctor Who audience would be horrified you're making that comparison, but it's quite right. You've just got to open your eyes a bit and compare and contrast. I'm going to go back to the start, though, when she does wake up. There was some world building there, because it got me thinking about this world, because she's in bed and all these other people are just sort of standing with pastel-coloured backgrounds and saying, hello, hello. And it's like, what? All these people are already up and she's the only one in bed. She's the sleepy one. Then I'm thinking, maybe these are like somehow simulations of these people, because maybe some of them are in bed too. Like how I could roll over in bed and type on X to you, Dave. Oh, good morning, Dave. How are you? Happy birthday, whatever. And you would take that as, a lovely greeting, even though I might be half asleep in bed with half my eyes closed, And so I was thinking, are these really the people or are they not? And later, when we see Ricky September, his hair, for example, wasn't as perfect and tousled as it was in his video. So I was wondering whether they were more like projections of that person's best self, which in a sense is what social media is. People do only talk about the good things that happen to them on the whole. People do only post the best picture of them. They take 5 photos of themselves. They only post the best one where they don't have the double chin or whatever. You know what I mean? So I was thinking, is this part of the world? Is this all some world building I'm seeing here? And I was quite interested in that. The problem is with that and with other aspects of the planet they're on and the home planet and all of this, none of it was teased out and explained, and I think there was maybe some interesting stuff there that could have happened.
Yeah, I spent a large part of the episode looking for the hidden depth or the twist to come or something. And like you, I did see the way that they were all in nice pastel backgrounds and all dressed up and all presented. And I thought, maybe we're going to be doing The Matrix. Maybe they're actually all existing inside an artificial reality or something. And this is the projection of them. No, we didn't do that. Look, I agree that there's something to talk about in the way that we always try and show our best side on social media, and social media is all about projecting the life we wish we had, not the life we do have.
Yeah.
Again, that would be an interesting thing, but no, it's not what they did. They just said these people are addicted to social media and stupid, which was a shame, because I was continually looking for it, and even some of the what I thought were going to be clues didn't really work out. So the moment where Lindy says, "You two are in the same room. How can you be in the same room?" I thought, what does that mean? And it turns out that actually, they can be in the same room. She works with 8 people in the same room.
Yes.
So I didn't quite get why that seemed to be signalled as a, hey, audience, this is a clue. And I thought, good, I've got a clue. Maybe it's, no, she's just surprised that they're in the same room. There were lots of those sort of moments.
Yeah. Now, you're quite right. It could have been so much more interesting if they were in a little Matrix-style fetus or something along those lines. But look, Dave, cards on the table. 10 minutes in, I made a note here. I'm rooting for the monsters.
I had a very, very similar moment. In fact, I had several similar moments. There was definitely the moment where Lindy was face-to-face with a monster for the second or third time and didn't have the gall or the gumption or the wit to just run away without, arrows in a bubble. And I just thought, you know what? Just eat her. Just eat her. I don't care anymore. And again, when she betrayed Ricky, I thought, okay, this is going to be one of two things. Either the twist is she's behind this, or the twist is she's much nastier than we thought and she's going to get her comeuppance. neither of which happened.
No, it's just her vacuousness, if that's a word, made her evil, without her, I think, necessarily being evil.
Yes, which again, without wanting to labour the point, is this Russell T Davies' very cynical perception of humanity. And it's a bit sad that somebody who's happy to write such marvellous and fun television, he's also got this really just view that everybody's kind of evil. It's a shame. So can we jump and talk about that ending then, since we're leaning into it, Rob? I mean,
yeah,
I mean, the rules of television generally would say that after Lindy betrayed Ricky and got him killed, she needs a comeuppance. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting choice that she didn't get it, but what do you think the ending was meant to be about?
About?
Well, what was going on in the ending? Because you start off where they meet the sort of the tall, lumberjack dude, and he's like, we're going to go out there and be pioneers, and then suddenly they get on a boat off to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory or something, and it's like, oh, we're all going to continue with what we're doing. I thought, is this trying to say that they are enslaved by a big evil company, or is it just that they're so addicted to social media that even when they're escaping monsters, they can't imagine a life without it? And the whole interaction with the Doctor, where they're like the Doctor seemed to have a revelation when he was doing the full sort of Planet of the Apes. Damn you! I just sort of thought, I don't quite get what the Doctor's revelation in that moment was.
Right. Okay. Well, look, to rewind, I thought that whole ending was quite messy, because they're down in these pipes where presumably the Doctor and Ruby have been talking to all these people and giving them the coordinates to get in, because otherwise they wouldn't have known they were there, they wouldn't have been able to get in and all of that. So the Doctor and Ruby have already welcomed down 12 people, 24 people, but then not spoken to them up until when Lindy arrived, which seemed to be some time along because they had already rescued so many people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there were lots of turns in that one that I wasn't quite sure where it was going, because initially he does say to Lindy, oh, there are people gathering and there's a river out of the city and that'll get you to safety. So I thought, okay, that is what the plan is. And I did sort of get that the Doctor sort of thought, well, hang on, maybe they don't even need to go out there. They could come with us. And I thought, okay, the Doctor's just had a change of heart, or realised that, maybe they wouldn't survive out in the wilderness. But then when they say no, he acts like he's just had a big revelation, and I'm not quite sure what that revelation was meant to be, what his realisation was. Was it just that they're too far gone down the path of addiction that he can't save them? And at the same time as well, there was a moment where they say, oh, where's Ricky? And Lindy tells her lie, and the look that the Doctor and Ruby give her, I thought implied, we know what you've done.
And, it was ambiguous.
Yeah, and now there's going to be a comeuppance, or now there's going to be a lesson, or there's going to be the twist of, you're behind all this, aren't you? Like I thought there was going to be something, but again, it was, you're right, it was played, I think not even ambiguously. It was played, we know more than you think we know, and it went nowhere. So there were lots of little beats in that one that I thought just don't quite work. Now you've told me that they're perhaps trying to do Black Mirror. I do wonder whether this is just what RTD thinks a Black Mirror ending is meant to be, and he's just done it without really... I don't know. I really don't know.
I've subverted your expectations and done something you didn't think would happen. Ha ha! And the Doctor didn't save everyone. Ha ha! Isn't that different and weird? It's kind of the ending.
Yeah. I wonder if it just is. He's just this is what a Black Mirror ending is. It's ambiguous and it's confusing, and I don't know. The other interesting point that I think went nowhere was the home planet.
I have a note on this. Yes,
I'll let you go on, because I've spoken a bit.
Okay, my note here, where is it again? Here it is. I've put Homeworld Population 0, the first proper chilling moment. By which I mean the episode started off a bit camp and then got a bit Doctor Who scary in terms of these non-scary looking slugs were around the place and in their city. But then when you realise that this home planet, which is going to save them all, and, Mum and Dad are up there and all of that, Population 0, and you see the slug on the screen, it's like, oh, these people are stuffed. And that was the first proper scary, well, sort of scary moment for me anyway.
I agree. It was a very cool moment, and it was a moment when I thought, okay, they're going somewhere now. But I also then don't think it really paid off, partly because of the complete lack of reaction from Lindy when she discovers that her mum is dead. And again, maybe they're making a point that being on social media the whole time neutralises you to real emotions. Maybe that was a point. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can kind of roll with that in the story they were doing. But it did mean that there was a lack of real sort of payoff for that. And I also did kind of wonder if I'd understood what was going on correctly, because at that point I did think, okay, there's something bigger going on here. And then we discover that it's just the dots have gone rogue and decided they hate people. And again, talk about putting the bell on the cat.
Yeah.
The dots have decided they hate Gen Z and they want to wipe them out. So are we to take that? Let me rewind. My initial take was that it's people on this satellite that are completely addicted to the dot and bubble, and that there are real people doing real world things on the home planet. I take it that is wrong, and everyone on the home planet is equally addicted to dot and bubble.
Your former thought ties into my word of the week, which we'll tease out at the end, but it is quite possible that they're just as stupid on the home planet too, yes.
Yes, and so maybe they are just as stupid on the home planet, they're all addicted, and they pay for their kids to go to the satellite to do whatever it is that they do that keeps the thing running. Maybe, yeah, okay, that works. We've had to do a little bit of dot joining there, no pun intended, but that kind of works. So, yeah, okay, I'll roll with that.
Well, speaking of dots, if they're so damn effective that they can just ping around at 1,000,000 miles an hour and just, take someone out with that single headshot like they do with Ricky, why didn't they just kill everyone in the first place, just simultaneously? Bang.
Yes, that was another thing in the plot that I wanted to ask you about, Rob. The big revelation that they're being killed in alphabetical order.
Oh, don't get me started on that scene.
I'm going to get you started on that scene because I'm about to... What was the point of that? I didn't understand that revelation.
It's just a conceit in the script, but when you have a clever moment in a script and the lead character saying, don't you see? And another character's going, no, don't you see? No, I don't. Really? Don't you see this? No, I don't. And you as the audience don't see. You're in the position of the person being spoken to, and you think, what is this? What's going on? But here it's like, yeah, we know it's alphabetical order, and Lindy doesn't get it about 3 or 4 times in the space of about 15 seconds.
Yes.
And I thought, my God, she really is stupid.
Yeah, no, I was with you. As soon as they started even sort of teasing that hint, I was like, oh, alphabetical order, that makes sense. In fact, as soon as they said, oh, what's his real name? And it's not Goth, it's something, I've gone, oh, it's going to be an alphabetical order thing, right. Again, if this was, for example, a Robert Holmes script, that would be a sign that we're talking about a bureaucracy or a procedure or something that is so unimaginative that they even kill you in alphabetical order. Here, it's just a conceit, and I think there to set up the death of Ricky when she says that his name really begins with a C, not an S.
Yeah, and wouldn't like a computer system know his original name? Or if it's like on X where you can change handle at any time and it's going by the handles, why would it then care that his old handle started earlier and then want to kill him for that? It would either be one or the other. Yeah, look, it was a bit of a conceit, and within the episode that wasn't the worst of its faults. Rob, a lot of people online have been asking the question, where's the Disney money going? And I've not really been part of that. I think that this, although they haven't been as deliberately cinematic as the Chibnall era, and I've said that's a shame, I haven't said it looks cheap or bad or anything, until this week, where the monsters looked embarrassingly bad. And again, I thought for a while that was going to be a clue. They were deliberately sort of terrible and fake monsters, but they were just cheap and terrible looking monsters. And even the location footage, they've filmed in Doctor Who, particularly New Doctor Who, many times in contemporary locations, but made them look a little bit futuristic or space agey or something. This was a road with a bunch of red brick buildings. Yeah. And I just thought, has the money run out? Because it's just cheap monsters in a cheap location. And I thought, this is the first time I've really have gone, where's the Disney money? Well, has the money all been spent on the final 2 episodes of the season, which, as we know, are going to be shown at the cinema in the UK? Is that going to be an all-out extravaganza? And it all just went on that.
Yeah, look, maybe this is the cheap, in inverted commas, penultimate episode where they do push some money back. Because this certainly, I think, is the cheapest that the season's been.
Just working on that, I think this might have been the first thing they shot, because Shooty is in the promotional costume he was first announced in, and he's barely in it. And then I think they might have shot 73 yards after this, where Shooty was off doing sex education. So I think we're at the very start of the shooting block here, even though we're towards the end of the season. We're more than halfway through the season here.
So I think 73 yards was the first stuff that Millie shot.
Right.
So possibly she did that while Shooty was finishing sex education, and this was his first stuff.
Okay, and they gave him a very light story for this.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but that could be it. Because yeah, other than sort of acting against a green screen, he's only in one scene. So yeah, but maybe this is sort of shooting around his sex education stuff.
Cool.
Speaking of Shooty, the Doctor cries again. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, I noticed that. And he also went off... He had a Capaldi moment. He went off his head when they wouldn't allow themselves to be saved. And I thought, this is very strange. We made such a big thing in the 60th that in a timey-wimey way, the Tenant Doctor had some rehab work, and the Shooty Doctor has worked out all his inner demons, and he's quite cool, calm and collected. And yet in every episode we've pulled out dark moments, and in this one the Doctor just went right off his... I think there was spittle flying out at one point. I didn't rewind it.
There was more than spittle. There were great big gobs of saliva.
Yeah. And I thought, this guy is meant to be all chilled out and cool. Is that a thing? Like, he's only saying he is, and he's really actually really messed up inside still? I don't know, because he seems that way.
Yeah, it comes back to the point that moment seems to be signalling something bigger has happened, and the Doctor has clued on to something, and I don't quite know what it was that he clued on to, or why it was such a big deal he had to go full, damn you all, you blew it up, damn you all to hell.
Yeah.
One final quick thing for me, Rob, the moment when the Dot went evil and it was just a great big red eye looking at her, I thought, if that's not a deliberate tribute to Hell 2001, that would be a real shame, because I think it surely has to be.
It'd be a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we go to the sports desk?
Better do it now.
All right. Here we are at the sports desk, where, of course, each week we do Play of the Week, Foul of the Week, and Player of the Week. Dave, do you want to kick us off with your Play of the Week?
Yes, I am going to go with the death of Ricky. Although there wasn't really a payoff for it in the way that I thought there should be, it was a definitely quite violent moment where the Dot just goes through his skull. I thought, oh, wow. In an episode I'm not really enjoying and is very shallow, that's quite a dark and bold move. And also what it says about the Lindy character, I thought finally added a little bit of depth to her. Again, a shame that didn't pay off, but in that moment I did think, oh, okay, you've got my attention now.
Yeah, it certainly jolted me. I was still sitting there wondering, how has Ricky broken his programming so completely that he can do all this stuff and Lindy can't? But put that aside.
And your Play of the Week, Rob?
My Play of the Week, Dave, is that Doctor Who does Black Mirror. Now, we've discussed this earlier. I don't mean it is like Black Mirror, but I think Doctor Who, as I said last week as well, works best when it's doing horror and some social commentary, some contemporary commentary. And this was doing both, which is what Black Mirror does. And I think trying to do that is a very, very, very good thing. It didn't work, and I think we've shown that through this episode. But I still think that's the Play of the Week, that they tried to do this. I think Doctor Who should try to do this more often.
Rob, I've got to say, when the Play of the Week is, look, at least you tried, that's not a good sign.
It's the best I got, Dave.
Fair enough.
Take us on to your Foul of the Week.
Look, I have to give it to the moment I exclaimed out loud, what the hell, which is when she was so dumb that she had to walk into a pole and then walked into it a second time. And I just thought, this is not funny, it's not clever, it's just dumb. I was challenging, going full sort of Knives Out. No, it's not so dumb, it's smart, it's just dumb.
Love it, love it.
Your Foul, Rob?
My foul of the week, Dave, is that last week we did a Dr. Light episode, and this week we did a Dr. and Ruby Light episode. And for 2 weeks running, I think that's a bit of a mistake. We've discussed on social media a lot that there seems to have been some shuffling of the schedule and the episodes. And I think just having these 2 episodes back to back, after we had some good stuff in Boom, suddenly we've gone into this strange area where the Doctor hasn't really been in 2 of the episodes. I think that's kind of a mistake, especially when you've only got 8 episodes to play with. Might be easy in a 13-part season, but here, no. That's my foul of the week.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, very good point.
And finally, Dave, player of the week. Who are you giving it to?
Look, I had to give it to Ncuti Gatwa, frankly, not a large number of contenders. I think that I find that when Ncuti is a little bit more self-contained and acting a little bit smaller, he's actually really, really good, and I like him better than when he's sort of out and wild and wicked. Mm-hmm. And again, having him have to act from one spot shows how strong he can be, and he did convey a lot in there. I totally bought his righteous anger at the end. The performance was fantastic. Why he was having righteous anger, I still don't know, but I got his performance, so in a weak field, Ncuti.
Okay. I'm actually going to give it to Callie Cook, who played Lindy. And that might seem very surprising, but hear me out. I think she did exactly what was asked of her. Maybe like Hayden Christensen in the Star Wars prequels. Because she is playing a very stupid, a very vacuous person. And we as the audience are buying into that to the point we're saying, she is too stupid. She is this, she is that. Her actions here have led to something evil happening, even if she's not evil. I was even looking online just before we started this episode. I just flicked on the Doctor Who hashtag on X, and people saying, "Oh, Lindy should have been the one to die. Lindy was this, Lindy was that," and people are really down on Lindy. And I thought, that's the sign you've played a good character and you've done your job. Even if we as the audience don't actually like it, we're buying into that portrayal. And that's all on the actress. She's choosing to be that stupid. She's choosing to speak that way, and just how vacuous and Gen Z, in quotation marks, she is. So I'm giving it to her because I think she's done her job.
Yeah, I can respect that. I don't know I agree, but I definitely respect it and understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. And it was a very small field of people to choose from as well, which didn't exactly help. Our words of the week, Dave. Do you want to kick off with yours? Yeah,
so my word of the week was alternate, and that's because I was watching a lot of this and just thinking there is a really, really good alternate story in here. There is something that is creepier, that is cleverer, and I think if you had made the population real people, intelligent people with proper emotions and smart, and showed that they can still fall foul of social media addiction, that would have been a really powerful story. And I think that alternate would have been really, really good, and I would have enjoyed that a lot more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There were some bits that raised eyebrows for me, like there was that whole segment where they did a couple of lines about consent. And I'm like, are we making fun of consent here? Because consent is actually a serious thing, but they're treating it like a joke? What's going on? Yeah. My word of the week, Dave, was hitchhiker.
Yes.
And that's because I was thinking of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the planet of Golga Frincham, where all the useless people go. Like hairdressers and phone sanitizers.
Society, yes.
And we talked about this earlier in the episode, and I said I'd mention it here at the end. You were positing whether the home planet had all the normal people on it, and they sent the idiots here, which is why I'm going with Hitchhiker and the whole Golga Frincham thing. But it is possible that they were idiots on the other planet as well, particularly with the way they've been already taken over by these space slugs. So maybe it doesn't quite fit, but for a long time in the episode, I was thinking of Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah, I think like me, Rob, you were spending a lot of this episode looking for something more, just a twist or a turn or a bit of depth or something. I spent the whole episode going, when are we going to get the clever? No, it just is as simple and dumb as it looks, and that's really, really disappointing.
Yeah, so look, to summarise, I think this is Doctor Who in a direction it should go in in a broad sense, you know, social commentary, horror, all of that sort of stuff. It doesn't have a happy ending. I like that. I like that not everything has to be happy and jolly. So it had so many of the right ingredients, but good Lord, it just doesn't work in the end. And I'm going to throw a 6 out of 10 at it, and I think that's even slightly high. I'm not sure.
I liked very little of this episode. I think that it was ill-conceived, ill-created, looked bad, and didn't really hold together. The best I can do is a D-.
Wow. Yeah, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and once again, it will be very interesting to see where the rest of the audience goes and where our friends and listeners have gone, and we'll discuss it all as we look back on the season at the end of this month.
Absolutely. My sense is very Marmite.
Yeah, I think there'll be people that agree with RTD and think that he's made a really powerful point, and that's okay. If you think that, then that's okay. That's art.
Yeah,
you know, we all react differently to art. I just don't think it works, and I think that I think it was actually quite contemptuous.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm on your side on this, but I do think people out there will agree with him. They will like this Black Mirror light sort of take on things, and they will think, oh, that ending was just so powerful, and the ending will just sit in their head and be, you know, their overriding feeling about the episode. And they'll just go, oh, so powerful, so brave.
The really interesting question for me is, how will a 20-year-old react to this? Will they sit there and go, oh my God, that's me? Or will they go, you can go get f***ed?
Yeah. Yeah, will they feel seen, is how I was going to put it, Dave.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, I've been Rob.
And I've been Dave.
We'll see you next week on another hot take on the Doctor Who show.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.